Hello, everyone. It's time to talk about Multiverse of Goddamn Madness. Now that I've had an actually decent good time to process everything and to actually analyze the movie and watch it a few more times, I've got some solidified opinions and time for kind of a review, kind of a reaction. It doesn't matter. The thing is, this movie is. Some people may find it controversial, but to me, this is one of the craziest, coolest movies in the MCU. It does so much crazy stuff. It's on some 70s comic book shit. It goes on a trip, and a big trip. And it's starting to get into the crazy, crazy shit from the comic books, which, in my opinion, is the best direction they could take. The comic books are crazy, and sometimes they're grounded, sometimes they're not, but I think, and to me, what I really love about comic books is when stories go out there and they really go out there and they start treating with existential bullshit and everything going on in more than one universe and the magic of everything and multiple dimensions and cosmic entities older than time. That kind of stuff just, it's beautiful when it's well done, when it's well written. And this time, fortunately, to me at least, and to a lot of other people, it does feel very much well written and completely directed. The choice of bringing on Sam Raimi for this movie was a great one. A great one. His influence is all over the place, and he kind of just did one of his old movies, and that's it. He just did a kooky, fun horror movie a la Army of Darkness, and it's good. It's pretty good. It's mostly very well justified as well, and it's interesting that the script and the writing for the movie was already done before Sam Raimi came in. And of course, there must have been some modifications and everything, but his camera work is what sells it. I think that another director, maybe a less kooky one, a less crazy one, with not as much interesting visual style, couldn't have done this movie and its themes and the crazy shit that happens justice. I think that if it was shot and filmed just like every other MCU movie without anything interesting going on, with barely any camera movement and stuff, it wouldn't have been this good. And it's time to talk about why the hell it's so good. And it's because it just goes out there and it does things to please the fans, and I get it. Now, it's time to clearly move on to spoiler territory. If you haven't seen the movie, go and watch that. It's a great movie. It's fun. You never get bored. There are a small criticism is that there are some slight pacing issues. The movie is so crazy, and so much stuff is happening all the time But then at some points, as always, as it has to, since that's how a narrative works, the story slows down a bit. And when it slows down, it kinda drags on for a little bit too long, and you really feel the slow pace, and it kinda doesn't fit in the rest of the movie. But it doesn't change the fact that even during those times, it's pretty fun. It raises a lot of questions, and it has some big implications for the universe. So, spoilers right now. Wanda. Wanda is the main villain of the movie, which is crazy. She came full circle. She was introduced as a little bit of a villain, then became an Avenger, and one of the big ones, and she got sidelined for most of the MCU. But then WandaVision happened, and WandaVision made her such a good character, and it made her one of the most human characters in the MCU. You felt her grief, and the story was all about her and Vision and her dealing with the trauma that everything in Infinity War and, well, since Age of Ultron, since her whole life actually, it was a story about grief and moving on and learning, and finally it got everything that she went through got materialized as her kids. And then when she just makes peace with living them alone at the end of WandaVision, you think that she's gonna be a good character again. But she starts messing with the Darkhold. And once she starts reading the Darkhold, once you start peering into other universes, once you start learning witchcraft from the most cursed book in all of existence, written by Chthon, the first demon apparently in the MCU, it's gonna change you. And the influence of the Darkhold, from my perspective, it takes away inhibition. It takes away moral compass. And so if you were just to, kind of like in Moon Knight, when Stephen was talking to Arthur Harrow, and Harrow was telling them that Amit was gonna remove the choice of evil, and Stephen asks if he wasn't worthy just because he thought he was gonna kill his boss. Like, anybody always thinks, oh, I'm gonna kill that bitch. Oh, I hate that guy. Oh, I wish I could kill that guy. Of course you don't. There's always a moral compass. The Darkhold takes that away. When you think, oh, I wanna kill my boss, and you're influenced by the Darkhold, by dark magic, by all that power, it's not, oh, I'm gonna kill my boss, oh, I wanna kill my boss. The Darkhold just takes over you, and you, instead of just thinking, oh, I wanna kill him, you kill him, and you kill him. So Wanda wants to get her kids back, and she wishes she could do that in any way, at any cost. And the corruption of the Darkhold gives her that power, the access to the multiverse, and the perspective that every other multiverse that she's seen, the kids are alive and happy with her, and she has a family. Weird that there's no, completely aside, very weird that there's no Vision at all. There's one name drop at the very beginning of the movie, and then no Vision, no Pietro, nothing. Just the kids, which is okay. She's a mother now, and all of WandaVision was leading up to her letting go of Vision. If you love me, let me. I'm probably gonna get copyright struck or something. I don't know, but that was the whole point of WandaVision: her letting go, learning to move on. But her kids are different. Her kids, and then when Strange starts, everyone starts telling her that the kids aren't real. Oh, she gets pissed. She gets super pissed. And that's the thing. She wants this good thing. She wants the one good experience that she's ever had. Like, in her entire life. What gave her purpose. What made her feel that she could be happy. And it got taken away. And with the Darkhold corrupting her, of course you'd want to do anything to get your kids back. So, I understand if, like, Wanda's your favorite character and you loved her in WandaVision and she's an Avenger in your mind. I understand if you don't like this change for her character, but to me, it's pretty damn justified. And she's just a mother that would do anything to get her kids back and to protect them, and who has infinite power. Imagine you being a god and being able to take anything you want, but you only want one thing, just to be happy. Wouldn't you do anything? Especially with a demon corrupting your soul and your mind and your body and everything? You could... Evil is inside all of us. No matter what we say, we all have the potential to, in extreme situations, do horrible things. It's innate. Because when survival is involved, and when morality isn't, we just let go, and we do whatever's necessary. So, Wanda being the villain is amazing. It's super cool to me. And it's even greater that she dreamwalks into this other Wanda who is actually happy and normal and has her kids, and then out of nowhere there's this weird witch taking over her body and making him murder the biggest heroes of our universe, and poor little kids just watching her mom go away, and probably like watching the news and seeing her mom annihilating the Illuminati. That is absolutely traumatic. And speaking of the Illuminati are such a big part of this, but they were also a very small part of it. They work for establishing that we're gonna see those characters at some point, and all of the characters that died, they really didn't die. They only died in their home universe. So, after the events of this whole movie, Strange is probably going to try and make the Illuminati in his home universe in our MCU. I am interested to see what the lineup would look like. There's definitely gonna be something interesting with the Fantastic Four at some point. I'm surprised to see Black Bolt. And now I've learned that the actor from the short-lived series on Hulu, the actor that played Black Bolt in that series reprised his role. And that's very interesting because in the history of Marvel Studios, they're kind of trying to avoid that series specifically and all of the other series. And now they started reintroducing Netflix characters, and suddenly Black Bolt is a big part of a movie, and to the point that they decide that to show him killing a Doctor Strange. It's interesting. Maybe there are some plans to reintroduce the Inhumans in a good way to the MCU. I hope so. We have Miss Marvel coming up, and the comics, that's how Kamala Khan gets her powers. She is an Inhuman, so maybe we're gonna see the Terrigen Mist and everything in Miss Marvel, which is actually coming very soon. I'm interested to see what happens with that. I'm also interested to see, because, well, let's go over it. There's the Sorcerer Supreme. The members of the Illuminati are, like in the comics, comprised of very specific, powerful, and smart people that are the leaders of various like sections of the superhero community. So we have the leader of the Avengers, Captain Carter, in that universe. I'm interested who would fill that seat in our home universe, because as of right now, the Avengers kind of aren't a thing anymore. And Tony Stark is dead. We have no idea what happened to Steve Rogers. I don't think Sam Wilson, Captain America, would stand and sit with a bunch of, let's be honest, a bunch of white people just trying to decide the fate of humanity. I don't think he would. I don't think he'd stand with that. Like, even normal Captain America didn't see eye to eye with the Illuminati, to the point that they wiped his mind, which is crazy. Well, it's a big thing in the comics. So maybe no. I'm kind of stumped on that. Maybe Rhodey. Rhodey would be interesting. But there's the head of the Avengers, the head of the magic community, the Sorcerer Supreme, which in the, was it 833? The universe where the Illuminati were? Whatever. It was Mordo, and of course it would be Stephen Strange in this universe. Then there's the leader of the mutants, which is obviously Professor X, but we don't have mutants or the Fantastic Four or the Inhumans in our MCU. So there's 3 seats that are completely empty. And I have no idea who could fill up those roles. Maybe, like in the comics, the only one that's actually missing is like Namor, which would be interesting. Black Panther is also interesting, but of course, we can't really have T'Challa anymore, unfortunately. So we would have to wait until Wakanda Forever to see who fills that role. So it would be weird for the Illuminati to show up in the normal MCU, because so many huge parts of the superhero community are either missing or disbanded. So kinda cool to speculate. I think that maybe instead of the Illuminati, it could be the Cabal. It could be the version of they're basically the same as the Illuminati, but for villains. And I think that would be a very interesting possibility, especially with Doctor Doom at some point coming in. We all want Doctor Doom. He's such an amazing villain. And it's possible that, well, Namor was also in the Cabal. There's also Loki, but Loki is... Honestly, I expected some tie-in with Loki. And it's interesting that he or anything is nowhere to be found in the movie. Of course, we know that all of this multiverse stuff and our main universe is connected to the rest of the multiverse only because He Who Remains is dead. So, Loki is hugely impactful on this movie, but it has no direct on-screen or dialogue allusions. So it's interesting that there were no literal connections. But in the future, we know from the post-mid credit scene, Clea shows up, which is interesting. A great character. I'm interested to see what, well, of course, more of Dormammu and the Dark Dimension, but she said that Strange caused an incursion, which means incursions are, well, of course, a concept completely introduced in this movie, but incursions are why the Illuminati were formed in the comics, and if incursions are happening close enough, it could mean that incursions are gonna start happening in our universe. And that would mean that maybe at some point, because the culmination of the incursions and the multiversal stuff went into Secret Wars. Secret Wars is the huge storyline that merges a whole bunch of different universe or the entire multiverse, depending on who you ask or which one are you taking, either the 70s and 80s one or the 2014 one. But it's a merger of the multiverse into Battleworld, where there were characters from all over, millions of different versions of the same character, and there were some crazy stuff, some huge crazy stuff happening. So it's possible that at some point we could see that in the MCU, and that's where we're headed. Now, that would be pretty fun. But I think Kang would be replacing Doctor Doom in the storyline, since we haven't been introduced to Doctor Doom yet. And Kang, we just got introduced to Kang, but he is an earlier established character and would make a lot of sense. So, in my opinion, I just realized that I've just been talking about stuff when this was supposed to be like a review and stuff. So, back to the movie itself. Acting, kinda good. Surprisingly good for such a crazy, weird movie. The direction, well, I've already talked about. I've previously already talked about how Sam Raimi's influence is everywhere, and there was so much Evil Dead sprinkled throughout, and there's this 80s cheese all over, which is good. It was effective, it wasn't cringy, and it was fun. It was very fun. Like the last, it's very it's for a very specific audience, and some people may not like it, and that's okay. So, uh, the post-credit scene, the last post-credit scene, just summarizes everything about this movie. It's just Sam Raimi, and that's it. And Evil Dead references, and it was fun. It was really definitely fun, and I'm glad that the MCU is going in a direction that includes crazy stuff and crazy magic and multiversal stuff and dimensions, and of course it's not everything. Not all of the stories are gonna be about multiverse and magic. We're gonna have, at some point, we're gonna have more Daredevil, and that is not gonna deal with any multiverses or any. It's gonna be a grounded story, and we still need those. And that is a very good thing, because just like in the comic books, the movies are gonna start being able to cover multiple genres and multiple themes in the same universe. And we can have this weird multiversal stuff with historical fiction, like we have in Moon Knight, in which it was confirmed that Alexander the Great was an Egyptian god Savitar. That's some crazy stuff. And then you can have a giant kaiju battle between two Egyptian gods in the pyramids of Giza. And then you can also have a very contained story like Hawkeye, which is just a guy dealing with the criminal element in New York. So it's that variety that can please a lot of different audiences and bring in new people from anything. There should be the MCU should have something for everyone, you know, and it's going that way, and I'm glad. I'm glad that everything is being successful. This movie made a shit ton of money, and that's good. That's very good, and I hope that the MCU keeps running, even though people are getting kinda saturated. There's been a little bit too much, and people are criticizing the Phase 4. What we have of Phase 4 right now, and the formula, for example, for the series, which it's all valid. We don't have to have the same opinions, and maybe I'm just a fanboy, and I really like it, but I just hope it keeps going on, and I hope it keeps getting better, and getting crazier, and getting more ballsy. It's incredible the amount of gore that is present in this movie, and the amount of horror elements. Like, there's definitely more than one kid out there in the world completely traumatized by this movie, and that's I wouldn't like to say that's good, because it's not good, poor kids, but it's good because they're willing to go that way. And that opens up so many possibilities, so many different characters, so much interesting things to the world, to the universe, to more titles coming ahead. And I'm just very passionate about this stuff. I really like it, and I want to get more. And yeah, I'm very excited for the future. So yeah, I've been Kelvo, new mic. Hopefully we'll see you next time. I'll see you next time. What the fuck am I talking about? Whatever. Goodbye.